Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. I am the CHALL Rovers Till I Die. We're back. We are back on YouTube after a couple of weeks break, and we are ready with the first preview of the return of the channel. It is Kings Lynn Town in the FA Cup this weekend. Now, please do like, comment, subscribe, click notification bell to this YouTube video. We are back on the videos big time. You'll notice by the content and the quality of the content and the tactical analysis of the content that we're going bigger and better than ever now. So please do follow on all the socials at the bottom of your screen and in the description down below. Hope you like the new intro, hope you like the new graphics, and we're going to get straight into this. So first of all, bit of history on the club that we are facing, just to give some respect to the opposition, and that is Kings Lynn Town Football Club in the National League North. So they're just below the Vanarama National League. So the club itself was established in 2010 after Kings Lynn SC were wound up in 2009. It's not really known when Kings Lynn first had a football club that represents the town, just that Lynn Town was reformed in 1879, having gone out of existence a few years later. Now, the club had been Northern Premier League Division 1 South champions in 2012-13, Norfolk Senior Cup winners in 16-17, and North National League champions in 19-20. Now, the club currently sits top of the Vanarama National League North by 3 points after 14 games, meaning they have 1 or 2 games in hand on other teams in the league respectively. Now, they've scored 28 goals this season and conceded 13. The manager, Tommy Riddington, won Manager of the Month for the first month of the campaign. Now, their manager formerly played as a midfielder during the 90s and early thousands. His career spanned wide and far, from making 89 appearances and scoring 8 goals in 3 years at Grimsby Town between 1996 and 1999. Coincidentally, our opponents the following weekend in the league, to 58 appearances at Macclesfield Town between 2003 and 2005. He began his managerial career at the club he retired at as a player, Salisbury City, in 2009. He's also been a caretaker boss on 2 separate occasions at currently one club, Bristol Rovers, after the then departures of Ben Garner in 2020 and Paul Tisdale in 2021 respectively. He's also been head of recruitment at Bristol Rovers in the past, as well as Coventry City, who currently reside in the Championship. Now, Kings Lynn Town's best FA Cup performance was in the second round during the 2020-2021 season, when they lost to 6-1 to Portsmouth at Fratton Park. Their previous round they won against Port Vale 1-0 away from home through a goal in the 82nd minute by Sonny Carey, who now plays for Blackpool in the EFL Championship. So this is a non-league side that have got some history behind them with the old Kings Lynn Football Club. And speaking to Greg Plummer earlier, who obviously is from Lynn News, obviously if you've seen the video, you've seen it. You know, we've got someone there who has followed Kings Lynn for some time, a load of time, and you know, believes the goal is to get back into the National League at the moment. And to be fair for Kings Lynn, that isn't actually a bad shout, and to be fair, they could do it this season with their current league position and what it stands for. So there is a heck of a lot of the season to go, you know, but it's going to be interesting to see how Kings Lynn's season actually progresses, which is going to be really good to see indeed. So, what do we need to do going into this particular match? Well, it's all to do with the style of play that we play and the formation we set out with. Usually we're setting out as kind of like a sort of 5 at the back with wing backs, but definitely a more attacking possession style. That's the thing with Schofield. I can notice the style of play now. So it's very much 3-4-3. Obviously, when we're defending, we're setting those wing backs back, and you know we've got 3 main things that are sort of noted with this particular formation and what we need to be doing, not just in this game, but in the games going forward with this formation. First of all, the wing backs. Now, the wing backs, for those of you who don't know football tactically and you know wonder what the roles are. With the wing backs, they can bomb forward simultaneously and offer those extra wide threats, shall we say. There is always a threat at the back post with the wing backs. They can always track back as well. So very much they are versatile. Their roles are varied depending on in possession or out of possession. So the wing backs have got to really track back when they're on the counter, and that's the con, shall we say, with the wing backs in this formation. They'll leave the open gaps, and that was one of the first things I was going to come on to, really. And that's the wing backs and the centre backs need to be in complete communication with each other. No, if it's, I mean, you'll see my prediction, but let's say we put out, I'm not going to say for this game, for example, let's say we're playing a league game, and we put out our best wing backs available, which in my opinion is James Maxwell on the left, Cal Noyle on the right. So Maxwell and Noyle, if they're caught forward and the opposition counter-attacks, let's say, for example, we have a back three of Faulkner, Long and Anderson, for example. For me personally, that's our best back three. Williams has been improved. He's really been one of the most improved defenders so far this season. It's a hard one with me for Williams. For me personally, even though he's been the most improved defender, I think Bobby's come on leaps and bounds at just 18 years old. Adam Long over the last few games has actually been better. And obviously Anderson in the spine of that back three offers that experience. And to be fair, if Anderson's not fit, then Williams will slot in there perfectly. But for me, I would say that maybe Faulkner and Long, either side of Anderson, is probably our best back three at this stage. So when you think back to what the wing-back roles are and the con of the wing-back roles, if they're far forward and we're being counter-attacked, that leaves the gaps, but that's where the communication between the wing-backs and the back three come into play. Noyle and Maxwell have to keep communicating with Long and Faulkner, either side of him, or whoever is on either side. The centre-back in the middle has to then, if the wide centre-backs are going to be covering that gap, the centre-back in the middle has got to be ready for the gaps. They've got to be a real rock and be ready for the gaps. So it's going to be interesting to see how the communication works between the back five, or back three and wing-back, shall we say. Now, the second thing I want to know is the double pivot in the midfield. Our starting pivot is more than likely going to be Ben Close and Harrison Biggins right now in terms of form. Adam Clayton, yes, he's the captain. Yes, he's a leader. Yes, he's a former Premier League player from a few years back. But at this moment, he's currently out of form for me. I think over the last few games he's been out of form. Close for me holds the play up quite well. I think he's disciplined. I think he's a good holder of the ball. Biggins brings the energy, box to box. As soon as Schofield came into the club, you saw the difference in Harrison Biggins, and that's all we've been saying. I think that Schofield coming in and a change of formation has actually helped Harrison Biggins bring out the best of him. And we see a different spark with Harrison Biggins now. He's got energy, he's got work rate. And we knew this before Schofield even came in. We knew during McSheffrey days that Biggins had energy, had work rate. And I said it in videos this season. There's been games where his work rate and his energy has got him out of, I won't say sometimes poor performances, but satisfactory performances. There has been some poor ones, but there's been better ones than other ones, shall we say. You know, it's kind of like a pack of cards. Sometimes you'll pack the ace of spades, other times you'll pack the joker, and you'll be made a fool and embarrass yourself. So we knew Biggins had something in him. We knew he had that ace up his sleeve. It just needed a magician to pull it out, and Schofield and the change of formation was the magician and the magician's assistant, shall we say. You know, it's like David Copperfield and his assistant Rick from Huddersfield. It's, you know, it's simply just that. You brought out the best in Biggins at the moment, and we're going to keep seeing that, hopefully, fingers crossed. And I think that Biggins does the box-to-box duties really, really well, and I think having a box-to-box and a holding midfielder well in that double pivot works amazingly, because you've got that holding midfielder to help control the tempo. You've got the energy of the box-to-box who works in advanced and defensive duties. So you've got that mixed variety there in the double pivot. Now, the one thing we need from the double pivot, and this is what I noticed about the double pivot in this formation, is not only the box shape with the attacking players in terms of a passing game, not only do we need the box shape to create the tempo and create the play from forward to back if we need, and then boost it out wide or boost it down the middle if we needed. It's not just that. It's discipline and it's control, and it's the control of the tempo of the game. Because one of the cons of this formation is you are going to get overrun in the midfield with only 2 midfielders. So, for me, I feel like, I mean, you've obviously got the centre-back in the middle who can act as a bit of a sweeper or an anchor and drop more forward if need to. But that's not his role. Especially in this formation, that's not his role for me. You can do a sweeper role, but that's not the formation for me. That's not the role for this formation for me. The double pivot has to actually reverse the overrun in the midfield that you may get. Depends what competition it is. But you can still get it where teams, even lower down, can still overrun that double pivot. You've got to have control, you've got to have discipline, strength, energy, agility, and you've got to have that awareness about you. And that's the one thing about a midfielder, because battles are lost and won in the midfield for me. And you've got to have that awareness in the middle to really win a battle. And you need midfielders that are going to win a battle. I've seen the reports from yesterday. Peter O'Rourke coming out with the stuff. I know, Football Insider came out with something about a midfielder we might be after in January. And Peter O'Rourke came out and pretty much confirmed the story that we're after York City's Dan Pybus. And from what I've heard about Dan Pybus, mate, York fans do not want to let him go. They do not want to let go of him. He is out of contract in the summer. I have done a separate video about this, which has gone up before this video, so go and check that out. But having that holding midfielder, which Pybus is, but you've got Clayton, you've got Close as well. You can't get over. The way to not get overrun is to have that control. Pybus is an example of winning every battle in the midfield. He wins battles rather than loses battles. Close and Clayton are our holding midfielders. Ravenhill and Biggins are our box-to-box. They've got to win battles, otherwise they risk losing their spot to potentially a brand new signing if we can beat Leyton Orient and Crewe Alexandra to the signing. So it's going to be very interesting to see that midfield and how it shapes up over the next couple of months in terms of competition for places. Especially with the news today from via Peter O'Rourke and Football Insider on Dan Pybus from York, who, by the way, I've heard from York, media people from York City and around that club, that he wins nearly every battle. He is a good holder of the ball, works perfectly in the formation that we're playing. Even though he's a holding midfielder in a 4-3-3 at York City, he apparently will work very, very well and do the appropriate duties and ticks every box for the formation that Schofield plays. So I think the transfer would make sense from our point of view and our part. So it's all about competition for places now. If I'm Clayton or Close or maybe not Biggins or Ravenhill, because they're box to box and he's more of a holding midfielder than Pybus. But if I was Close and Clayton, listening to that, I'd be stepping it up a gear. Clayton especially, I'd be stepping it up a gear, because he could come in potentially and take someone's place here. So I think that, I've got complete confidence in Close. Clayton, I do have confidence in the guy. Obviously, he's out of form at the moment. He's going to want to step it up and prove why he should be in this team, why he should be the captain of this team. And he'll get a chance to prove that under Schofield. It's just a case now of control, discipline, not let the midfield be overrun, win as many battles as possible, and keep that double pivot strong in terms of a hold on the tempo of the game. Keep the control in your favour, because as soon as you lose control, the possession goes out of your favour and into the opposition, no matter who the opposition is. Finally then, in terms of what I'm looking for from this formation and what I'm expecting from the style of play, the attacking three. Now, in the 3-4-3 or a 5-2-3, you can set up the attacking sort of three any way you want. You can have the classic 2 wingers and a striker. You can have 2 inside forwards and a striker. You could even do a false 9 type thing where you have 2 forwards either side, and then the striker drops back into a centre forward role or like a cam role. It's like a false 9. So there's many ways of doing it. I would expect Miller to be, or you could do a flat 3, you can still do a flat 3. I would expect Miller to be out there. I mean, we'll go through the full lineup prediction in a little bit, but I would expect Miller to be out there I'd have Hurst, and I'd try Waltman this time on the match. I think on Saturday I'd try Waltman, I'd give him more minutes, especially in the FA Cup. You know, I know Schofield came out in the press, and I know what, I did say this on social media, fair play to Schofield for saying he wants to go as far as he can in this competition, and he's not taking any risks, which I love from a manager. I know there is that risk, there is that potential caution of starting players who should be starting the league, starting in the FA Cup, they get injured, it risks league form, that kind of thing. I do get the risk. But this is where investment in the January window will help, and this is where competition for places will help. Because if you think you're going to play in the FA Cup and then someone from the starting 11 in the league's getting ahead of you because he wants to go all out, and to be fair, Schofield did say he's basing his formation based on how they're doing training, the form of the players individually and as a team. So it's going to be interesting. I would expect a couple of changes from the weekend, but I think it's going to be interesting. Now, like I said, my prediction is Miller, Hurst and Waltman as that sort of front three. Waltman on the right as a sort of right-sided forward or winger. Hurst as the left-sided one, and then Miller up top as a striker. Now, the two out wide, Hurst and Waltman, that's going to be an interesting cohesion. Do they work as inside forwards? Do they work as wingers? Do they work as wide attacking midfielders, roaming playmakers, shall we say? Because let's not beat around the bush here. Waltman and Hurst have got technical ability. They absolutely have technical ability. It's how they work behind the striker, and it's about how they work as roaming wide playmakers, wide attacking midfielders. So I think it's going to be very interesting how we set up the attacking three. You know, do we set, you know, we've got the wing backs, do we set out the wingers as out and out wingers, or do we set them out as wide attacking playmaking midfielders and have them roaming out left and right with their technical ability and their pace as well, and play sort of 2 10s out wide behind the striker on either side? It's going to be interesting. And again, what I'm expecting from the attacking three is, again, teamwork, communication, service, clinicalness. Clinicalness has been a big thing for me. And, you know, the Stevenage game on Tuesday, we should have won it by at least 3 or 4 if we had put our shooting boots on. But again, it's if, buts, maybes. You know, if I'd have taken the next Taekwondo lesson, I would have gone up from Dragon Belt into an all-star class. If I'd have taken the tube to Northwich Victoria or whatever, I'd have been in London Central in time. It's all if, buts and maybes at this point, you know. If I'd have had that cup of milk, I'd have had to go out to shops to get some more milk. If, buts, maybes. So, again, clinicalness is key, but I think that will come with time. We shouldn't expect too much from Schofield at this stage because he is still building his side. He's got the January window to come as well. And this is what's exciting about the new era with Danny Schofield. He's a Donny lad. He knows, you know, he's not got previous history with our club, but he's born in Donny. In fact, he's a Hexthorpe-born guy. I'm literally just a shortcut away from Hexthorpe Park, or through Hexthorpe Park. I am literally near Hexthorpe. I'm so glad for him because he's a Hexthorpe-born lad, but also he's a Donny lad. And he gets a fresh start after the calamitous start at Huddersfield. And this is why I wasn't too hard about Schofield being appointed. He was dealt a very bad hand at Huddersfield when Coburn left a few days before the start of the season. And 2 or 3 of his best players were sold. Lewis O'Brien and Harry Toffolo. Schofield deserves an opportunity. He's a well-respected coach. It's a head coach and not a manager situation now at Rovers. We haven't got a manager, we've got a head coach. You see head coaches up and down the highest divisions and stuff like that. Mikel Arteta at Arsenal, head coach. You know, we see head coaches to a penny, you know, more and more now. And to be fair, the head of football operations role was set up for a head coach and not a manager. So that's why I think McSheffrey was in a position where I don't think he was going to win. As much as I wanted him to stay up until that Carlisle game, which was, as you know, my turning point for McSheffrey to go, and I did time it right because a couple of days later he was sacked, along with Steve Eyre. I do believe that the head coach and head of football operations work more cohesively than a manager would do with the head of football operations. That's just the way it goes. That's how the cookie crumbles. That's the way the juice flows. You know, sponsored by Robinsons. But I feel like Schofield will do better than McSheffrey. I do personally feel that. And I think, and this is the message for the board, and people know I've backed the board for ages. Board, if you are watching this, do what you did in the summer for McSheffrey with Schofield in January. Give him the funds to succeed. Give him all the backing that he needs to build his team, because now we've got something that we didn't feel we had at the start of the season. An actual style of play that we stick to as much as possible. The first few months of the season, it's been quite versatile, playing any formation, any style, taking it game by game. Now we have our style, our formation, our way of football, and we stick to it as much as possible. Obviously, there are changes that we have to make, you know, due to opposition, but we stick with the same style, we stick with the same formation pretty much, and we play it out and adapt around it. So that's, and you know, it feels better. It feels better in an actual style of football, which I'm sure McSheffrey will get in time at a different club, whether it's Crawley or not, I don't know. But for me, I feel like now we're in a better position. And that's just my personal opinion. But let's go into my predicted lineup. It is on the screen at the side of you, but I will go through the lineup again anyway. So as we said, sort of a 5-2-3 or a 3-4-3 on the attack, however you'd like to sort of fix it up there. I've gone with Mitchell in goal. I've gone with Maxwell and Seaman as the wing backs. I want Seaman to get an opportunity in this game. Williams, Anderson, Faulkner. I've gone with Williams as the left centre back, as the left-sided wide centre back. Faulkner as the right-sided one, who's just come back, by the way, from his sort of training partnership with Manchester United, along with Carl Hurst. So big congratulations to them too. Do not worry, guys. It is nothing to do with transfer activity, even though Faulkner has had that Premier League interest. Don't worry. It's just a partnership thing. We've had Sam Maher and Maximilian Oyedele from the others, from Man United side, do training with us for a few days. So it's just a partnership thing, just to help build that relationship with other clubs and their academies and things like that, which I think is a good deal anyway. So yeah, Faulkner on the right, Williams on the left, and Anderson in the centre. I've gone with Ravenhill and Clayton. Now, the reason why I've gone with Ravenhill and Clayton is, first of all, for Ravenhill, this is an opportunity again to show the manager to break through into that team. To be a good backup for Biggins. Obviously, we will need maybe a box-to-box in January. If we don't go for a holding midfielder in January, go for a box-to-box. Just to let Ravenhill learn a little bit more. But this is Ravenhill's opportunity to prove why he should be back up in this team and build to be a first-teamer in years to come, like Faulkner is now. And Clayton, this is a chance to really get back on form. Yes, it's the FA Cup. Yes, it's a non-league team. But Adam Clayton gets an opportunity here to lead the team again and be back amongst it, if you know what I mean. You know, the streets would say back amongst it. I do think Anderson will be captain, but to be fair, if Clayton comes in, he'll probably be captain. But this is Clayton's opportunity now to get back on form, and this is a perfect chance to do it. And then I've gone with Hurst, Miller and Waltman, as you know, in that three in attack as sort of two wingers or wide attacking midfielders, roaming tens behind George Miller. So, my scoreline prediction for this game then. Obviously, I do want to take Kings Lynn Town with the greatest of respect. We spoke about it with Greg. They play along the ground. They play the wing backs and the three at the back, sort of 5 or 3. So we're going to be pretty much matching up formation to formation, pretty much, unless there is a late change for them or us. I don't think we'll change our formation at all. But unless Kings Lynn change something around, then we're expected to match up formation to formation. Now, overall, am I worried about Kings Lynn Town? I wouldn't say worried, but I don't want to go into it saying, oh, we're going to batter them 5-0, we're going to batter them 6-0, we're going to walk all over them, they're just a National League North team, we're going through, Donny. That's not how I roll. That, you know, they see me rolling. That's not how I roll. How I roll is take it game by game and just try your best. Even if it's a team that we think we can easily beat on paper, try your best, because the FA Cup is known for giant killings. It is like a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger beating Godzilla. There is the option of a giant killing, of a giant shock in the FA Cup if we don't turn up. We've got to turn up. So I'm going to predict a 2-0 win. And the reason why it isn't any more goals, because I want to be respectful to Kings Lynn. Because I think matching up formation to formation and the style of play that they play, and the fact they're on, you know, they're in a good position at the top of the league at the moment. For me, I feel like, you know, and to be fair, even though we're in two completely different leagues, let's be technically honest here, Kings Lynn are actually the team more informed than us. Let's be brutally honest here. So, Schofield's still getting to grips under the table with the job, so I'm not going to slag him too much for that, because part of it is due to Gary McSheffrey and the tactics, etc. But, you know, Donny will get back on form. I've got confidence we'll get back on form with Schofield now at the helm. It's now just a case of using the FA Cup as a real chance to grind some momentum into those lads and get them ready, because the rest of this month we've got Grimsby, we've got Colchester, both away on following weekends, which I will be going to, so do make sure you look out for me at Blundell Park and at the Colchester United Stadium. And then we've got the second round of the FA Cup, which, I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty excited about who we're potentially going to draw. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really, really interesting to see what happens. But I hope you guys come on for the journey with us. We're back bigger than ever with the content this for the rest of this season, and we are going for it. So thank you very much for watching this video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. And for now, I am the CHALL Rovers till I die. Ta-ra for now.